Hi, LJ.
Hi, my love.
Thank you for joining me today. I'm so excited to have you.
So happy to be here.
I know we haven't seen each other in a minute, and now we're doing a little virtual Zoom.
Catch up on, honestly.
A lot to catch up on, and I'm really happy you're here with me because we're going to be talking about friendships and community today. And I thought literally nobody better than you because you are like the ultimate best girlfriend. I feel like anyone who gets to interact with you has met you on a Broadway show or just out on the town. You are just the life of the party. You're like the girl's girl that is just like the ultimate cheerleader for all your friends. I was like, she has to talk on this. No, it is.
So much to me. That's so fun.
I love it. That's how I felt when I met you. We've known each other now for we were looking back on it. It's like 4 years. We met back in 2016.
So crazy.
Which is insane at Aladdin nonetheless, which was a super blast. And you totally made my experience. It was so much fun coming in. You were a dresser. For those that don't know, LJ is a stylist and dresser to Broadway stars, basically. You were swinging for quite some time, bouncing around, but then you really and again, I think it attributes to your personality and how you work with your actors and just that community as a whole is you really bring something special. So you've upgraded and now you're a principal dresser to your last 3 shows, right?
Yeah. It's crazy.
Huge. It is pretty crazy. Do you feel like there's anything as to why you got there? Do you feel like what was the steps as to how you felt you networked your way up? Because I know a lot of people think time and effort, but I also do think what you give is extra special and how you connect with your actors. It's such a sacred space and dressing nonetheless. It's an intimate space. Yeah. So what do you feel you bring maybe that's a little bit different?
I think it's you hit it a little bit already, but it's I think it's a combination of things because you need to be, there's some people that come in and are like, it's about being like the best friend with the actor. And that's not at all what your job is. The priority, number one, is always going to be making sure that the show looks good, that the costumes are happening, that the run of the show, that all the wheels are working properly. So that's your priority. Mm-hmm. And I do try to go in. I'm not trying to I want to make a million friends.
I'm not trying.
I'm not really trying. For me, and especially at the beginning, when I'm at a brand new show, and everyone calls me out on this later, I'm very quiet. I'm learning my track and stuff. I'm very I'm trying to figure out the scene. I'm trying to I think some of it is just being a bit of a chameleon, and that for me just means taking things in first. So I'm learning. So I guess it starts with the learning process of what do people need from me? How can I what kind of vibe? If people are stressed out, I need to be the cool one. I need to be quiet. Kind of
reading the room too, because every house is different.
Yeah.
Every backstage is different, even though we're doing the same steps. It's the same motion in a way. Different show, different rules, different people, different set of energy. So
the performer is so different with what they want from you too.
Right.
So I think a bit of it is just, maybe it's empathy. Maybe it's you know what I mean? Maybe it's just kind of understanding this is what, reading the room and figuring out what people are going to need from you on a different show, and different shows have different needs. Some you're just offering emotional support, and some you're just working your ass off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, truly.
So I think a lot of it is just, figuring out what people need from you. Yeah. And then some of it's just being a nice person.
100%. And I love what you were saying at the beginning, because it really is. I've talked about this on earlier episodes of my podcast. A lot of when I was younger, because I don't know about you, how old were you when you really started? I was 19. So a lot of my mentality was be my friends. Oh, I'm a child.
You're a baby. I don't know, maybe I was didn't we do this math? When did I start? I was probably, I'm 30.
You were in this business for 7 years now. What's 7 minus? Yeah.
We can do math.
She's don't do that. I'm horrible at math.
That's 23 or 24, which is still super, super young.
Super new. It is. And it's we're in a developmental stage of our own. And I think you have to acquire. I see younger people coming in, and I kind of understand now why I got the flack I did for my age coming in the industry, because they were like, oh, well, you're a child. What do you know? What do you experience as far as like how to deal with adults in adult situations, or in the caliber of Broadway, which is the highest, you know, level of theater you could be in. And I was like, well, I think I got it. But I do realize now, like, yeah, you really gotta read a room and know when your energy, even if you have that empathetic, you have a high energy, you bring light into a room, it is learning when to kind of bring it out, when to be more subdued, and what exactly you said, what does my actor need from me? Do they need me to be loud and distract them from their anxieties? Do they need me to literally be in the corner and just there for like moral support or physical support? So you just got to ride that wave.
The same thing with your job too. Like, we're on top of each other constantly.
Yep.
So you can get on people's nerves real quickly, and we've all seen it happen.
Yes.
It can start out so well, and then it's just like, I don't want that person anywhere near me.
Well, totally.
That energy.
Yes, and it's hard too, because I mean, my God, you worked at Aladdin for, I mean, I only had the pleasure, I was a swing, but I did have long stints where I got to like be in with that family dynamic. You were there for a couple of years, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it really does become your second home and your family, and you get really used to each other. I mean, my God, you're with these people 7 days of the week, 8 out for hours on end, doing the same thing. You get comfortable with these people. So it is hard creating that line of still we're at our job and we can play after our job, but we all like to play in our job too. And also it's hard in our industry sometimes to create those boundaries, which I've learned as now going on a little bit further. Is there any things that you've seen that have changed within you growing through it, of like maybe what you come into a job as far as learning to set certain boundaries, but still maintaining that outwardly professional nice, but you still want to be the pal? It's like, is there any remedy you feel like you found? It's not a thick science, but.
And I wanted to touch on something you were saying earlier of like, I think you and I had even had a conversation like this backstage of just being like young people in the industry and kind of being like not looked down on, but it's almost like you do get a little bit hazed on on the tech side of things. As an actor, not so much. Like, if you're young and hot, it's like whatever.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah.
But if you're working backstage, I definitely found that as well, of just like people pushing me under the rug and just kind of like brushing me aside and assuming I didn't know what I was doing.
You're ill-experienced, you're young. Yeah.
Because I was younger. But now I will say, looking back, I'm really glad that I had that. I'm really glad that I had older wardrobe people that were kind of like doubting my ability, because I do think that it helps me work harder.
Sure.
And it saved me from not being an annoying, like, I want to be everyone's friend, because I was so determined to
do the work.
Does that make sense? I was so determined to prove myself as a serious person, because I already knew like what I looked like. I had crazy hair, like I was young, you know what I mean? Like, I already knew that I had all of these things kind of working against me, where people don't take me seriously. So I was like,
unprofessional, which is weird off cuff, where you're like, just because I like to dress nice, do my hair, my makeup, and show up, and I'm personable and I enjoy being here. It's always a weird thing too with people that have been in it longer. They're maybe a little bit more jaded. They're like, listen, just show up, do the gig, and go home. Do it right. Don't be so worried about all this other nonsense, where it's like, it even gets looked at like, damn, you can do both? Because LJ, you can do both, which makes it frustrating. Like, damn, you're so nice and cool, and then, oh, you know how to do it too? You're like, bastard.
I think that was like going through that school, which you did too, of like, the work has to come first. Changed everything. It just kind of happened naturally, because I was so anxious to prove myself. So I think that, I don't know if that answers that.
That 100% answers it. No, it's perfect. I love it, because it's agreed, same sentiments. It's just showing up, doing the work first, doing the job at hand, and then even just organically creating the relationships. It's not something that's forced. Just really, I think my biggest thing too, and for other people that are listening when they're jumping in, it's like, you also, no matter how kind you are, no matter how personal, no matter how well you can even do your job, sometimes personalities just won't mesh. Sometimes the talent, somebody in your track, another fellow crew member who's on your team, there's so many personalities in one small house, and with swings that are people that are popping in and out the same, it's going to be a hard thing. You're not always going to get along with everyone. And I think I had to learn that when I was younger, being like, it's okay. There are going to be some people that do not like you, and you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with just not being liked by certain people. And it's not because you're not good at your job or because, oh, you're not a good person. It's just you're not for everyone. So to stay authentic to yourself is also a struggle sometimes, but
staying authentic to yourself. And also a big thing that people don't talk about enough is trust, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to be able to trust the people around you. Yep. And there's some people that I've worked with that I'm like, oh my God, she's so fun. Like I want to grab a drink with her, but like I don't trust her to be able to get the job done at the end of the day.
Right.
Because there's people that I've worked with for years that are difficult.
Sure.
Hard. And I'm not like, I want to be best friends with you, but like I know that they're going to
do the track. Yeah,
they're going to get their stuff done, you know. So like if that doesn't it's a building block, I think.
Sure.
If that doesn't come first, then if you can't trust that your show is going to go the way it needs to go, it doesn't really matter.
And I agree with that. I say that all the time. It's a hard bag because when you do get in positions where you're able to put your friends on or have your friend come in as a swing, it gets tough where you're like, girl, you are my best gal pal. I love to go out with you. You are so much fun. Yes, you're in the same industry as me, but I don't have that capability of wanting to put this in your hands. I've talked about it in other shows where it's like you want to put the people up into those positions of power that you know are capable of doing the job, not just because you like them, because then you end up not only screwing yourself and your name, but also the show. And what we, again, needed to do in the first place was get the job done. And so it's hard, but you got to have that balance. And I know you work with friends often. I literally have worked physically for and have to like pay out and commission to my friends. And it's not always the easiest thing to do because sometimes you get in a workspace and you realize, damn, I thought we were going to be a good fix. We're so close, but we're actually not very good at working together.
It's so hard.
But we're great on the outside. It's a hard bag. You just got to find balance with it always and just wait out, but be authentic in that process, I think, too. 100%. Yeah. And there's something else I wanted to touch on too, because we're talking about friendships and other things. I know you and you don't have to mention it, but I want to talk about dating in the workplace. Because I also know you literally met like your love, like your guy, like in the workplace. And I actually met one of my first boyfriend in the workplace as well. But I always told myself, don't mix it. I've always like, don't. So even when I had met my guy way back, my ex, he was an actor. So then it's like on set, okay, but I waited till we were not physically working together anymore to pursue. So you waited. See, I'm so here. A lot of people think like, oh, but I'm like, no, it is messy in my opinion. Because what if it doesn't go well? And I'm on the job with you.
I mean, I literally don't know. This is why I'm always like, no one can write a rule book on love or any of these things.
You can't.
That's always been my biggest rule is like professional first. Like and honestly, before John had never even like looked at a single man I worked with in that way.
Yeah.
But we really did just become really good friends when I mean, when we did the out of town in Chicago, all of us just got so tight because
when you're
away from their families, it's like summer camp. Like we kept coming to summer camp because we were just like together all the time.
Truly.
But we really just became like good friends and just had really good talks. And like there obviously was attraction there.
Right.
But, like had I gone on to work at Tootsie on Broadway, we probably just would have not tried to do anything.
Right. Because you're first and foremost, I'm the same way where it's like go and do in stages, let it be, professional, do my job. At the end of the day, you're still my talent. You're still the person that I have to cater to and do all these things for.
Too, I never had to I never saw him ever during the show.
Fair enough.
I never touched him.
I was like, for the I wanted the record. I never even looked at him. Yeah.
I saw him backstage like twice during the whole run of Tootsie. And
hey friend. Yes, I love that. No, I know it's hard, but it's so crazy because on the flip side though, I've met couples that I love when they work together. Like I've worked with husband and wives who are in the show together, or two crew members that their contracts are set in stone with each other. So I guess like you're saying, you can't write love. So if it fits, and y'all can work that out. That's great. I just think move with caution because you never know. And you rather
at the beginning, especially because you never know anytime you're going into a relationship.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like anytime you're starting to date someone, it's always such a question mark.
Yes.
And like you just don't want to play with fire when it's something I mean, I'm just assuming everyone's career is as important as it is to us.
Listen.
But you don't want to play with fire when it's something like your career, you know?
Right,
so
right.
For us, we went on our first date, like, legitimately, I didn't know that we would talk when we got back to New York.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so we went on, like, our first date to an opening night, like, a week or so after we got back to New York.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. See, and then it was set. I love it. I think it's
at this point, I think I could work with, like, you know what I mean? If we happen to be on the same show,
yes.
we're an established, married, boring couple now.
No, you are not.
You know what I mean? There's not going to be drama of like, are they breaking up? Are they, you know what I mean? Like,
right. No, it's just now working in. I know. Trust me. If I can find any way to get my boyfriend Tyrone right now, and I'm like, let's go. Come and join. I'm like faking him being an assistant on set just to have him with me. I'm like, I would love him to be there every day. I'll lie on behalf of him. You know what you're doing. It's fine. You're IT. It's show up. They need something done.
Crush it.
Yeah, he'll be fine. Let me see too. And I guess on that, which is a vulnerable thing that, just beings and people on set and being around each other, self-worth and us being authentic, I think comes in a huge, huge role. Stepping into this industry, having our eyes set on goals, but also so much can happen in between, as you've seen. I'm sure when you set in, this is kind of sidetracking a little bit, we're going to come back. But I know when I've stepped into this industry, my set of goals and what my light at the end of the tunnel was very different than where I am now and what I see for myself later. Absolutely. So it's a crazy thing to me that when I was younger in it, I really swore I knew, just like black and white, this is my set of plans. This is how my career is going to go. And there's so many pleasant surprises, but there's also a lot of turns that I didn't think would happen. Good and bad. And it's just life, because life is happening while your career is happening. I always look at it as two different things, weirdly, in my mind, just how it helps me keep track. But it's like, this is my career plugging along with all my goals and what I want to reach and certain things I want to obtain, whether it be certain incomes, financial successes, personal successes, actual dream title jobs that I'm reaching for, things I'm creating for myself. And then there's me over here where I'm like, okay, relationship, family time, babies, marriage, like creating a house, like that whole segue to
marriage.
There's all these tracks. They don't always align at the same time when you want them to, obviously. So it's crazy. But how do you feel like, and I always answer out loud, and it seems like there's never ever, it's just to the individual. But where do you feel when you're setting your goals and moving ahead? How are you creating that balance for yourself and keeping your integrity with like these goals that you've set as a young woman, being really passionate about what you do, but then also moving into just life, like life happening and taking you where you want to go?
I wish I had a better answer. I really do.
I know this. I'm like, I don't even know if there's a true answer.
To be honest with you, I want to say that it's kind of like the school of life, right?
Truly.
Like for me, there's been very clear times where I'm just like, I'm trying so hard and I'm hitting like my head against the wall, trying to have a boyfriend or what, you know what I mean? There's been times where my career's gone really well and I've just been like flailing in everything else, my relationships, my friendships, whatever. And then other times where like I'm not even striving and I'm just like getting jobs.
Right.
Just, you know what I mean? It's like, it's a hard thing to say because it's ultimately,
there's no blueprint really.
Ultimately, it's about your mindset. That's what I will say. Is that you're on a roller coaster. Mm-hmm. And especially if you're working in this industry, there's highs and lows. Look at our lives right now.
Like, couldn't have planned.
Taught you, like quarantine and COVID-19 should have taught you that there's no way to like ensure what your future is going to be. There's no way, like you can work, you should have goals. You absolutely should be a driven person. But there's also times that I'm like, you know what? I've done the best that I can. And if things aren't happening, they're not happening. And it's like that for both of those planes, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't control your life as far as like your relationship or like babies, family, marriage, but you can't control that sort of thing. You know what I mean? No matter what you do to try and like put things in place, all you can do is control your mindset and be like, I'm happy with who I am right now. I'm happy in my self-worth. And I think it's the same thing in my career where I used to think that I could like really like, I used to feel like I needed to actively be working towards like,
same,
like connect with this person,
day in, day out.
person. like keep it going, which sometimes does help, but you just get exhausted. And I've noticed the pattern in my life is like, it's almost like I need to learn the lesson. Like when I just let it go, then things start to happen of like, you're just in the right place at the right time.
Right. It can be frustrating because I agree with that. It really does. Like I said, there's so many pleasant things that come along the way that just were a surprise. You're like, I never thought I'd be in this room, or like for you dressing or working on this show at this time or with this person. Like there's so many things that come that are wonderful surprises that we couldn't even anticipate or plan. And then
career, I feel like
truly
that way.
Yeah, well, my entire career till this day. Yeah. And it's hard because we want to be controlled. Like we want to, as humans, you want to control. You want to be able to be in charge of your life and make the decisions and do your best to create that schedule and lane for yourself. So that way you can go to bed at night being like, I did something. I actively did something to work towards my career or bettering myself in X, Y, and Z. But I do agree. It's a lot of the mindset, making sure this is right up here, because even when things aren't coming, it's trusting that process. What is it?
That's the thing that you can control.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Right. We have full disclosure. Yes.
That's the one thing that you can control is where you're at with all of it. So if it's like whatever piece that you still feel like is missing in your life, you can do things like you can go take classes from someone who's like in your profession. You can do a lot of things to like fine tune your skills, which you should do, and try to like make yourself the best version. In the same way of like, hey, I'm struggling in my relationships, I'm gonna go to therapy. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get my life worked out. I'm not saying you shouldn't do all of those things.
Right. No, you should absolutely. And it's true. It's a really nice way to put it. And I think most people, when they're striving for answers, look within, and like you're saying, there are tools. So even if you can't control how much money you're taking in right now, I know there's certain levels, maybe there are other tools that you can kind of find to be like, well, if I'm not making money in this way, let me see where I can make money in this way. I've always been told, I had one goal of being a personal assistant to different, celebrities or whomever. Okay. And I was like, I want to be a personal makeup artist to them. And my friend kept being like, I had a goal of how I was going to get there. She was like, Rachel, you might be able to go work on TV shows and then meet your person that you're going to click with. And so you don't have to go this route. And if that route isn't working right now, maybe you have to steer over here and just try this. So that's also, I think, the letting go part of just going, whatever you've conditioned yourself to thinking is the way of how something needs to be done or how it's going to be achieved. You might be wildly surprised on a different way that might make you feel a little bit more uncomfortable, a little bit more out of your own comfort zone for what you had just felt control in, and what you were saying, this is what it is. I've made the decision today. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and that's how I'm going to be successful. It might be completely different, and you just have to abandon your thoughts in that moment and just take whatever opportunities come for you, whatever, like you're saying, a class pops up. It's just like, go and do. Like if you're staying active though, I do think that's a big part in manifesting things towards you to become and get to the ultimate place that you want to be. Relationships, personal goals, career goals, all of that.
And the ability to pivot, right? Like to be flexible with all of this is kind of the key to your survival. Like look at all of us right now that thought we had steady jobs, you know what I mean? And everybody's lost their way of life. So it's like, great. What can I do now to make sure that I'm still, like everybody, you have to adjust constantly. And if you can't do that, you're not going to have a place in this world.
No, really, you're going to be eliminated. No. No stress, but you have to go. No, it's 100% fair. Do you feel like with you being in the pandemic, I mean, you were just on a full-time gig, you were working over at Ain't Too Proud and dressing, and then that all went. So what do you feel like is your current plan for the forthcoming next couple months into the new year? Like,
girl, it's been a journey. It's been a whole circular journey that I've gone on since March. So like, just totally vulnerable. The month of March and April, I was like very much in despair. Like I was like, I don't know what to do with myself. I also, because anytime I've ever been without a job, and like my husband and I talk about this so much, we're hustlers, right? Like everybody who lives in New York, if you don't, who lives in New York, but if you work in this industry, the
Yeah.
second that your show closes, you've already been like
Right.
in the groundwork of like, hey, I'm open. Does anyone need a swing? Does anyone need this? And there's ways that you can feel in control of your situation.
Yes.
So like if you're
Even in the lows of the work, I understand what you, yes, 100.
if you're an actor, you're constantly auditioning. There's things you can do that like I didn't realize until this pandemic that I was leaning on as a crutch of like I can still be doing things to change my situation. And then it's like, no girl, all of Broadway is gone. Like you're not gonna find a job.
It
It
won't matter if you knock on that door. We're literally all closed. It really was. It's like all doors shut at once, and you're like, wait, I don't even know what to do.
No one's gonna pay you to
Nobody.
and there is nothing you can do right now.
You just had to sit. It's pretty wild.
It was wild, and it was like such a change in like the pacing of my life. It was like being like in a straitjacket all of a sudden.
You're also an on-the-go gal. For people that don't know, you are a busy body. You are actively doing things, whether it be working. You're a very supportive friend, so you got a lot of things to show up for people for. We'll get into that in a minute, but continue because that's new for you.
So crazy to me. So the first few months were really hard to be like, what am I to do? Like
what to do.
What is my, and really ultimately circles back to what we were talking about earlier of like where your self-worth is and where your value is. I love my job, but like my job and my career are not my whole life.
Ugh, LJ.
You know what I mean?
Same. No, I know. Because I literally was like, what do I do when I don't work? I had a whole good, like you said, couple months of being like,
crisis.
What do I do? Because if that gets taken away, and it felt like my livelihood was gone. Because I was like,
all the rugs were pulled out from under us.
Yeah, like what do I do? What do I even like to do? And how am I I didn't know who the hell I was like sick. I got to figure out what I'm doing because nothing.
So it's been a whole journey, and I don't know. I mean, I'm still like figuring this out, and I don't know what the world is going to look like come January. I don't know what it'll look like in March or at any time next year, but I really have come to like more of a place of peace about the whole thing.
Yeah.
I will say I've been doing a lot of like just searching within and that kind of thing. And I'm about to be a mom, so that's like a huge crazy
She said it. I was waiting. She said it.
But in a lot of ways, that's given me a purpose that I don't think I would have had otherwise of like,
yes, definitely.
That I need to like be doing classes for. I need to be doing the research and getting myself ready for that. So
it's like redirecting your priority. Yeah. It's now I have something to focus on and really give my all in, which is a blessing because I know a lot of girlfriends right now that are pregnant. It's like you having, if let's say we were in the midst of work, it's that silver lining. You would maybe be working up till because it's not like we get paid maternity leave.
You're working right now, honey?
You'd be working right now, like bopping around with your going up and down the damn Broadway steps with the basket and a child. It would be a mess. It's a lot. So it is kind of that nice thing where you're like, word, I get to really give all the attention and time to my mental health, my body, physical health. And so, but it is weird.
Tunnel vision. It's like positivity, like the positive things are that I've had time. I've been able to process the fact I'm having a daughter. You know what I mean? I'm about to be like a mom and I can journal and like my husband and I have done so much, like done all these classes together and we're going to be home together for feasibly the first 4 months of her life.
Which is incredible.
Never happens.
Like what? For both of you, because mind you, people that don't know, your husband's an actor, so he is just as much as a busy, ongoing schedule, and the hours are very different, guys. Like we're either gone all evening, you're running around all day. It's a crazy balance. So what a gift to be able to sit and have that time. Like what?
Yeah.
So at least that.
I've come full circle with all of the quarantine stuff of like, it's so worth it because I think it's going to be really amazing.
I love that. No, it's hard though, man. I understand that completely. It really is a readjusting. And I weirdly feel the same where it's like, okay, now I kind of feel comfortable in it, which here's the triple-edged sword. And it's like, now what do I do when I have to go back to work? Because I'm so used to
even my track. Like, am I even physically able? I'm going to have to start working out, like going up and down stairs with baskets. I don't even know if I can do my track.
Like, I don't even remember how to, trust me, I've had some random shoots throughout and like very COVID style shooting where I'm like, do I know how to do makeup? And like, I had to like really get back into it because I didn't touch brushes. Like you had said, those first 2, maybe 3 months, I was like, I just need to figure out how to sit and be with myself, because I thought I knew how to do that pretty well, but this was a whole other level. This was like forcible, like sit in a house type of deal. And I was like, ooh.
It forced you to do that work. But the work of like looking inward and being like, am I okay here by myself?
Right. And you know what's even beautiful too is I've seen a lot of people come out of this, and like especially in this time frame of it, having it been like we've literally been in this for 6 months. Half a year we've been doing this, which is insane already, and it's kind of flown but also totally like dragged at times. But so many people have come out of it realizing like, you know what, I really didn't like my job, or you know what, I really have all these newfound things that I never got to be able to do, that those are my true passions or goals in life. And now I have kind of the time and the mental space to like have the excuse to not keep going in the job that like I'm used to staying in or showing up, or just creating that same, like you said, we were in that cycle of once my Broadway show ends, let me hustle to swing a little bit until the next show comes around. We get in this kind of cycle of what feels and is comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now we have to find new avenues of income, how we're gaining our happiness, like fueling ourselves. And it's a whole new, have you found any new fun skills about yourself, or just other side hustles that you like?
My skills are not a side hustle. My skills are like I go through these random, because I need to be creative. So like I did like a cross stitching time in my life. I did like a right now I'm very into baking. So I've been baking like bread from scratch and doing all kinds of stuff like that.
It's a light flex, just baking bread from scratch.
I'm trying to be my mom, I think.
I love that. I love it. This baby's gonna be blessed. She's gonna love carbs. Let's go.
It's gonna be huge. But yeah, it's been, I'm trying to think of what else. I've done painting. I've done like, I like to keep my creative, and right now, last month, my creative outlet has been like the nursery.
Oh my God, yeah.
Creative, and also able to like, I feel like I'm able to get out my like artistic thing and also prep for the baby in one.
Yeah. I mean, dang, which is so not, have you gotten too much? I mean, again, us talking about what a rock star friend you are, was that a really difficult thing, you not being able to like be with friends, and especially during a pregnancy? I mean, this is your first pregnancy, so it's not, this is a whole new experience period for you. So not only we get stripped of a job, we have to adjust to that. Now I'm a new mom, I'm a first mom, I'm trying to just maintain and do what I need to do, but you weren't even able to be around your community, your tribe, your people that it's like, hey, these are who uplift me, this is who I'm running around the city with, enjoying them and their arts and supporting them. It's like, what did you feel like for that?
That was big, and that was, I really did kind of have to mourn the fact that I'm pregnant for the first time, and it's not at all going to be what I envisioned. You know what I mean?
You had to let go. Right.
There's not going to be a baby shower. There's not going to be, there's not going to be these times with my friends that I would have liked to have. But just, I did have to kind of be like, it's okay.
Right.
Nothing is what it's supposed to be right now. And also in the grand scheme of things, like there's much more important things that are happening that people are suffering through right now than
100%.
Dealing with a pregnancy that's not what you thought it would be.
Right. My dream baby shower is not happening, but on the upside, we got to get, it does. And it humbles you in a nice way too, where you realize like, dang, like what you get to really sit in the precious moments of the pregnancy, not kind of what maybe social media or just kind of what even marriage has come up to be, I think, with our generation. That's a whole other talk just with that and babies. It's like, it's very, I don't want to say forced and fake, but there's so many set up situations, and we're coerced into thinking we have to do certain things in that process to like show it off, to make it.
There's money. There's money.
Yes. Your bachelorette doesn't need to be that 5-star week. It's just to get money out of them, and the baby shower and the gender reveal. And there's so many ways for them to just, exactly what you said, gain revenue just off of you being like, I want that photo. I want that video, that moment to showcase. And that's, I mean, probably one of the bigger things too, I'm sure you can agree, in the pandemic, is having your people that maybe you don't owe it, your family, for God's sakes, like your literal mom and sisters. And it's like, you get to be around. It's like these moments, I never get to spend this much time with these people because you live in New York, but you're from Georgia.
The silver lining is I really got to be around family a lot.
Yes. And I just said you're from Georgia, and you're definitely not from Georgia.
I am. I'm from Atlanta.
Why do I get confused? Oh, because I know you stayed in
Yeah, we stayed with my in-laws in Houston.
Thank you. I was like, I know something about the South. Okay, thank you. We're good there.
Yeah, our summer was full of like, we literally lived with my in-laws, so we were with them, and then my sister and brother-in-law lived very close, so we were like with our families basically the whole summer.
Oh
So
my
like,
God.
this is life, right? You lose some things, like you lose. I didn't have that time with my friends, but I had time with my family unexpectedly, and
Sure.
and so like I wouldn't really change anything.
No, honestly. And it's just those moments we never get back. So it's like just being as present as possible. And like you said, because we can't control it, just enjoy the moment and ride it out. It's like, good God. Do you have any plans coming up when once the baby does arrive, as far as like now you're back in New York, you're settled?
I mean, it's just going to be figuring out what life is with a newborn.
Oh, just something light and easy, right? Just like doing the mom thing every single day.
Casual and chill, I'm sure.
I know. I mean, my God, is there anything, I guess, I mean, that being like top, I hate to even be like anything else, as if that won't literally consume every second of your every single day going forward till God knows when now. But is there, even in the last couple, I mean, you're shy of, I think you mentioned to me, 15 days to delivery. So you're like, we're right there.
We're focused on it right now. Yeah.
Super hyper focused. I guess what I'm trying to get at is even before, like you had said, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. Okay. We have an oppression uprising. There's all sorts of things with police brutality and immigrant. We could go on. Like there's the
biggest civil rights movement in history right now.
History. Like ever. And it's pretty monumental. And I know I've talked to my parents about it as far as just different communities, and I'm loving the way that Broadway is showing up. We're gonna cycle back on that mainly because we both are in that community. Right. But it is pretty crazy. Even my mom was like, I've never seen it happen like this, where it's like multiple parties are coming together, multiple races are coming together to really support Black lives and the people that need it the most right now. And I know you're super active, and I'm really loving the stuff you're sharing on social media because, again, back to authenticity, back to, you know, being vulnerable and being true to where you are and knowing your place and how to still put your hand out there and be involved. It's like you've shared so much information, which I love, but also even about specifically Black moms and how different the statistics are to them when they're going through pregnancy and their births, and how they're treated and how their pain is treated and the care that they get and their birth rate. So it's so wild to me, but I love how aware you are. You're being a first-time mom, and you're not just taking it in like, all I can do is focus on me. You were still able to be open and say, hey, let me go ahead and use my experience, but also educate myself on what is happening in this world.
Yeah. Well, because I'm just one life, and there's a lot more important things. We're in a very important time in history right now.
Yeah.
And it is a hard balance. And even like social media and stuff, I doubt myself of like, am I saying too much? Am I saying too little? Like,
same. I'm like, I don't think I said that right, but I'm going to still put my heart out there. Yeah.
That's been the thing, is it's been like, and I've had a lot of conversations with good friends of mine in the Black community of like, am I doing too, like, tell me what I need to be doing. And it's all over the place, right? So this is just it really depends on where your heart is at. And it's like kind of a trial and error thing of like, at the end of the day, I want people to be loved. And I think what we're going through, I think it's absolutely heartbreaking. And I can't imagine a world in which I wouldn't be speaking up for for Black women's rights. And so for me, I feel like because of what my body is going through right now, I was like, I can focus on one thing and try, like, that's what I'm going to be giving to. That's what, so I've been trying to donate to Every Mom Counts and Black Mamas Matter, and just like researching as much as I can to know more when people, you know, doubt what I'm putting out there, or, you know what I mean? Just to like learn about the facts and stuff, because it's something that I was not educated on and I was very ignorant of before I became pregnant. So
100%, which is such a great, and it's a beautiful thing. And I think that's the other thing with community and showing up. It's like, we show up, you know, our friends in the Broadway community, they have shows all so often where they're showcasing their talents and their arts. And, you know, we have you as well. I know we have a mixed, wonderful group of friends as far as from Black to Latino to a whole gamut of wonderful, beautiful people in the Broadway community. And it is so interesting where it's like, you know, we show up for those things, and it's such a great thing to then see what a fighting force Broadway has been to pull for each other and saying, hey, there's a lot
people have
in
done
creative ways, exactly, that resonate and that are true to those people and what they're putting out, you know, and it's knowing kind of where and what works for you and how I'm going to show up and then doing that tenfold. But I love it. I love seeing everything you're putting out. I love watching what the Broadway community is putting together and noticing all the work, heavy work that we all still need to be doing and working towards that. And hopefully when we do come back for us, I think after this pandemic, with our community and with our friends, the people we truly care about, I'm excited to see when we do get back in the game. I mean, God knows, people were telling me maybe until next March, like spring. I know Broadway's close to, like, we know for sure January 2021, but it's like, Lord have mercy. So I can't wait to see
any of that looks like.
We don't. And I'm just hoping when it does get back in, though, we come with a whole brand new set of eyes and rules and standards and hopefully new forms of art and shows that are just, you know, a little bit more less tone deaf than they have been for the last couple bajillions of years.
That is the silver lining of the I mean, taking everything we've been talking about earlier and tying it into like Broadway too.
Yeah.
You know, my husband made a really good point the other day of like, if all the George Floyd stuff had not happened in the middle of this pandemic, would it have gotten the attention and
I think about that all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Would people be paying, I don't know if attention's the right word, but would people be tuning in the way that they are now?
And as actively as we were. I mean, I know, unfortunately, too, we do see naturally the kind of decline on social media, and that happens with any really hot topic, even if something is trending. So kind of the keeping it alive, I just hope people are keeping that attention, like you're mentioning.
In a new way.
Yes, different, and just knowing how to put it. If I'm not posting on my story every day, that's fine, but I hope now that you've taken the information, you're continuing to educate behind scenes, and that you're also continuing to donate and be part of things and help the community in a larger space.
And continue conversations in your private life as well. You know what I mean? Like, that's where I think so much of the work is done too, is having the conversation with family members or people who don't that don't think in the same way that you do.
Right. Opening up their eyes, sharing those experiences, helping them as much as they can. I know a couple of people are like, God, there are some generations that really, we just gotta wait till they die out, and it's just hard to get them to get on that page. I was like, that's so sad. I'll keep trying. But yeah, you know where you're gonna get the work done, and you know where you're beating a dead horse, and then you just gonna kind of keep moving forward. Somebody's best advice to me too was like, you know, for family members that are really stuck in their old ways, they're like, the least you can let them know is that their old ways didn't affect you, and it's not going to carry on through that generation, because you're the switch. You're the one saying, nope, your old ways of how you were brought up, it stopped at me, and I'm not going to keep passing it down to generations, because I am aware of what's going on. Exactly. Hi, hello, my name's Rachel. To all my, it's like, you don't, you know, so it's hard, but at the very least, that when people get frustrated, like, God, I can't change everyone. That's okay. You be the change, and you keep moving forward in your life, in your friend groups, in your communities.
And I'm carrying the next generation in my body right now. So there's a lot for me to think about as far as like,
totally,
even the ways, you know, I've had a lot of conversations with my parents who did their best, but there's a lot of things that I wasn't exposed to that I should have been learning about when I was younger, you know, and that's acknowledged. And like, how do we change that for my daughter? And that's so encouraging to me of like,
totally.
Like, I want my daughter to grow up and know that, like, be seeing Black and brown girls that she looks up to and finds so, you know what I mean? Finds so beautiful and aspires to be like. I want to surround her with stories like that, you know?
Right, 100%.
So I think being intentional about it, even as a parent, can be huge. Like, there's a lot I want to do to answer your question of, like, what happens next. I have to focus on having this baby, getting through this phase, but there is a lot that I would love to do. And I don't know what that looks like, but in the next few months, whatever, just to raise awareness. And we have so many beautiful Black moms in our life.
Oh my
Tiff
God.
and Corey. And
God, two of the baddest too. I was like, how dare you both, three of you. I was talking to Corey in a DM the other day. I was like, how's that possible that three of the best people in the world are going to be pregnant at the same time? Your babies are going to grow up together. I can't. We're getting pregnant right now, sweetie. We have to get pregnant. I have to catch up. Like, what am I supposed to do? I'm like, great. Okay. My God, it's so exciting. It really is. And I'm just excited. Watching even their journeys has been a really cool thing too. Just
but you know, we need to be supporting of each other, and I need to figure out kind of what the next steps are. But I'm very just one job right now.
Just one job at a time. I'm just excited to see it. I'm excited for you. I'm so thankful for you sharing all your information and just anything else that you've gone through. I mean, we've all had quite a transitional past couple months. I would definitely say for you for sure at this moment, currently transitioning from being like a very newlywed, honey, like new, fresh out the gate new, and then boom, she had babies. I'm just so excited. It's like a huge,
Wasn't part of the
what
plan.
a year.
Here we are.
Here we are, everyone. I love it. It's the best. It's the best. I'm like, you know what? If you're going to do the damn thing, go all the way in. Do all of it at once. It's a great time.
But this is the lesson, right? This is, you just got to go with what life hands you.
Yes, yes. And it's true. We have to keep, it's going to be an interesting rest of the year. And I think the best thing too, just advice, I'm going to let you end on those notes as well, but I feel like our best advice for this topic would be, I guess, for our community, show up in the right way, show up in the authentic ways, really trust your journey. And even when we hit those glitches of, like you're saying, slow down work, a full stop in a pandemic, like you just have to keep moving and appreciating the small joys or things that being brought to you present day. And as far as control, do what we can for our mindset and fueling our bodies and our mental health. And that, amazingly enough, especially when you start here, that trickles into so much of your life and everything that you else have coming towards you or that you're trying to obtain. It really, once this gets clear and is peace, like total, like you're saying, just like at peace and trusting you're okay with you, not much else can really phase you.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true. And you can't control those. You can't control the outside things. So control the things that you can.
Yeah.
You summed it up really well. I think the only thing I would add to, like, kind of how we started out our conversation, just with like, I think the biggest thing, and this is not going to sound smart or enlightening at all.
I love it.
Truly from my heart, like, I think the biggest thing that you can do in this industry and in the world right now, even if you don't have a job, if you just graduated, whatever, is to love people and to actually love them.
Yep.
And that sounds so cliche, but like, when people are like, well, how are you friends with everyone you work with? I'm like, I just legitimately like actually love
really
the people
like them. Yeah, and you know what? Screw that. We're not leaving yet because I definitely want you to touch on that. It's an interesting thing because it really, I think it's just an important point to hit, which is that the authenticness, and you mean it. You know, you might come off maybe to some people from an outside eye, like she's friends with everyone. How can she be so authentically close or feel that much love to these people? But you do, and you take the time to get to know.
I feel like the most blessed person in the world. I truly feel
100.
so like, I truly just feel so grateful for everyone in my life.
Yeah.
I am. And I really, like, I'm really in love. Like, I love my job, which sounds so dumb. And I love every single person that I've, like, who I've worked with. And I loved who I've been able to surround myself with. I feel extremely lucky.
Yeah. Which is crazy because, I mean, so many people, don't have that. Not only do they not like their job, they're just kind of clocking in and clocking out. But then also they don't take the time to enjoy where they're at and the people that they are with, and they don't take it for granted. They take the time to really authentically grow a relationship with them and see how they are and then keep up with them. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like you don't clock into work and then you're all kiki hi at work and then leave and you don't speak to these people. You check in, especially if you're learning about them and you really mean well by it, how you are, how your families are. Oh, you had a bad day. You're checking in on these people in and outside of work. And that's where I think you show up the most, LJ, because you just, like you're saying, you exude gratefulness and love and you're giving it out so much. People can't help but give it back to you because that's what you're literally fueling to your friends, your family, your coworkers. So they're like, well, I'm not going to not. That's why I said at the beginning of this, I was like, there's not one person that I'm like, you know that LJ girl? There's not one. There's not one. So I'm like, you speak for yourself and how you're embodying, how you work, how you move.
But you can take that into everything that we've talked about though, too.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Of like where you're at in your relationships or where you're at, like, even just like with where we're at in the world right now, like love on the people that are around you because you don't know when something's going to happen in the world and we're not going to see each other for there's coworkers that I haven't seen for however many months now. And I didn't know that was my last day with them. You know what I mean? No, so it's like loving on people. And even in the civil rights movement that we're in the middle of, just love people. It's not that hard.
I know it's not that hard, and appreciate them for who they are and what they offer to the table, even if they're not even always like you, or you guys don't align on every little thing. Still appreciate that life, that human being that's in your presence. It's okay. We don't have to love everything the same. That's all right with me. But I still want to respect you and get respect back and show you love. Just the fact that you're living and breathing and you have that right to do so in whatever way you choose to. Yeah. So it's a big thing. I really, you think it's corny, but just loving people is a foreign thing.
But I was trying to draw a through line of all of the things that we've talked about. We've been all over the place. But I think it just boils down to that.
It is. And I love it. On that, and we're ending on love, guys. We love that.
I love you.
We're ending on a love note. I love it. I love you too. I'm so excited. I'm so thankful for you giving me the space and hanging out with me today and giving us some insight to your world. It's a lot going on, but you are trooping. Yes.
It's so good to see.
It is so good to see you. I appreciate you. Everyone stay tuned. I'm going to tag LJ's stuff all below if you're already not following her. Stay tuned. Watch her journey. She gives a lot of beautiful insight out. So keep up with her. And thank you again, my love.
Yay!